I got the sound system, guys. Now what? In this episode of Sound as Fast as Possible, you're going to learn how to set up a sound system for your church. We're going to start with the simplest version and then fill in the details as we go. I promise not to get too nerdy and stay to the end to get some pro tips on keeping noise out of your system. Hey, if you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe and ding the little bell. I'm here to help you make every worship mix an enjoyable one. Every sound system has at least three major parts. It has an input device, like a microphone, it has a level control, like a mixer, and it has a loudspeaker, like a loudspeaker. The microphone takes vibrating air molecules and turns it into an electrical signal. The mixer brings the level up and allows us to balance and adjust the signal. We can adjust its tone, add effects, and send it different places. At the very least, we're balancing the levels and sending it to our loudspeaker. The loudspeakers use an amplified electrical signal to push air molecules back and forth, spreading the sound over a larger area. For a signal to get where it needs to go, it's got to run through cables. Even if it's wireless, at the other end, it's still got to go through a cable. The microphone can be plugged straight into the mixer's input. This cable is called an XLR cable, and it can go long distances without picking up a lot of noise. If you have a guitar or a keyboard with an instrument level output, you'll have to go through a direct box or a DI with a mic cable on the other end. This keeps the signal from picking up too much noise on the way to the mixer. If you have an analog console or a digital console with the inputs right on the mixer, you'll have to run a snake from the stage to front of house to carry all the microphone signals back there. Some digital consoles have their mic inputs in a separate rack that they can put on stage and just run a digital cable back to the console. This is helpful because analog snakes can get expensive. They're made of copper, and copper ain't cheap. From our mixer's output, we run into a power amplifier, which then runs to our speaker. So if your speaker has a power cable in addition to the source input, it's active. If not, it's passive, and it needs a separate power amplifier. Starting back on stage, the voltage coming out of your microphone or guitar input is really small. Plus, there's a big difference between the voltage coming out of the drum microphones compared to your vocal microphones. It varies so greatly that we have a trim or input control on our mixer. So at the console's input stage, we're trying to take it from mic level to line level. On analog consoles, this is called 0 dB VU, and on digital consoles, it's -18 dBFS. Or if you're on a digital console and don't want to look at the numbers, just look at the colors. Touching a little bit of yellow is great. Going into red is bad, like really, really bad. The power amplifier takes the line level signal and boosts it up to speaker level. It needs enough juice to push the speaker components back and forth. If you have an active speaker, there may be a little switch on there that says mic/line. In this case, you can plug a microphone straight into it and it acts as the mic pre and the level control for the speaker. If it's set to mic and you run a line level signal into it, you're going to get a lot of gain and a lot of distortion, and you could hurt somebody. So don't do that. Speaking of caution, always turn your amplifiers off first and on last. This keeps pops from damaging your speakers as other components power up and down. So if you're following me so far, type Sound Ninja in the comments below. Now, if you have live musicians, and I really hope you do, they're going to need to hear themselves somehow. This can be either a monitor wedge, which is a speaker sitting on the stage facing back up at them, or an in-ear monitor system. Look on your mixer for an aux, mix, or send for how to feed these monitors. It also has a master output for that send, so don't let that trip you up. All right, now that we've got it all set up, here's some pro tips for getting the most out of your sound system. When plugging in a guitar, bass, or keyboard, make sure that the cable's plugged into the guitar first and the DI last. This keeps it from popping through the system in case it's not muted at the console. Your sound system is basically a really refined electrical system, and the electricity you use to power it can introduce noise if you're not careful. Try to keep the circuit that's powering your sound system free from things like refrigerators, air conditioners, fans, and lighting equipment. If you can't get clean power from the source, use a high-quality power conditioner. They are totally worth the money. When setting up the stage, you'll probably need power for things like keyboards, guitar amps, guitar pedals, and your wind machine. When you have to cross audio and power cables, make sure that they cross at a 90-degree angle. This prevents noise from transferring from the power cable to the audio cable. A little known fact about sound history is that the first recording was done by Thomas Edison when he recited "Mary Had a Little Lamb" onto a wax cylinder. The second thing he recorded was, "We gonna party like it's 1899. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Hit thumbs up, be sure to subscribe and ding the little bell to get notified, and we'll see you next time on Sound as Fast as Possible. And hey, for more tips on improving sound at your church, check out this playlist, Growing as a Worship Sound Tech.